Ruby Walsh might be an even better commentator, analyst than he was as a top of the draw class jockey.
What about my pound?
I like this.
Frankie, we're getting excited about Constitution Hill next week.
Oh, come on, to be fair, let's be honest, if we're honest and open, that wasn't off a yard.
It would be bold from owners and trainers. It would be bold.
Maybe ones that came up the inside, Joel.
I like the way you're thinking. But then Liverpool were in the Premier League after 4 weeks, and they're about 8th now, aren't they?
Banging reaction. What a manic Monday it has been. Was it the Bangles who sung that, Joel?
It is, yeah, 1986 maybe.
Got there in the end.
Yeah.
I had no idea what you were talking about, and that's obviously why, because it's from 1986.
When you were, well, not even a thought. Were you? Right. I mean, in terms of Mondays, we don't get many more festival clues than what we have today. We're going to get straight into reaction. Obviously, the place to start is with the Arkle, because we saw the two market leaders, Lualamba strutting his stuff, laying down a marker. Kopek de Board says, "You think that's good? Come and watch me." 80 minutes later. I'll start with you, Frankie. Out of the two, who were you most impressed with?
Give it to Willie Mullins already. I think he's a different beast. I just think the engine under that bonnet could just motor along at whatever pace you want to go. They were both really impressive, weren't they? They both jumped really well. They both won by X amount of lengths, but they've both barely come off the bridle. So, yes, neither of them have been tested, but just sort of, one, looking back to last season, two, there's a slight difference at the ages, and three, the Willie Mullins factor leans me towards Kopek de Board. Before Lulamba raced, I was starting to scratch my head and go, well, he did get beat by 100 to 1 shot. East India Doc, he's not going to be, talked about as an Arkle contender. Have we got overexcited? But then he did get me excited again when I saw him over fences. So both good challenges, but I'd be with the Mullins camp. Okay,
Joel. Frankie likes Willies. What about you?
Yeah, I'm into Willies as well. All day long, I'm up and aboard. Yeah, just very, very impressive. Once the rust had gone after the first three, just looked super mammothly impressive. I couldn't say a bad word. Honestly, I couldn't. I thought at the start, oh, well, how fit are we going to be here? 2 or 3, and then and towards the end, lengthened. And I tell you what, we've seen some good ones this weekend. Very, very impressed.
We certainly have. Right, so Lualamba was clipped quite considerably. I think he's on about 7-2 on the back of that. And then Kopek de Board says, hold me beer. And then he goes and absolutely dots up, as we say. And he's down to 2-1. So he's 2s, Lualamba 4s on the back of today. Wouldn't it be nice if they both just came in, kept away from each other, and then bang in March? They're both unbeaten going in. It'd be probably the head-to-head of the festival, wouldn't it?
That would probably happen, won't it? I think that will happen. Yeah. No doubt, though, Lulamba will catch more headlines between now and then. The Hollywood Yard, Nicky Henderson's yard. That was going to be the point that I made if we would have spoke about this pre-race, is that, for example, Poneros was making his chase debut, or East India Doc was making his chase debut. He won't be going over fences, but there wouldn't be half as much chat as about Lulamba. And he comes second in the race, didn't even win at the festival. There is something that surrounds Nicky Henderson, and maybe the Donnelly colours mixed in as well, because Sagino dramas last year, that will just be a media storm from now till then. And I hope he holds up and is as good as his hype, for sure. But I don't have him as top dog anyway. Neither does the market currently.
No, but we've got a week, haven't we now, Joel? Because obviously, Frankie, we're getting excited about Constitution Hill next week at Newcastle. Lualamba's making his debut. We know what the narrative is going to be for the next couple of weeks.
I'm off to see him tomorrow. Newbury Gallop's morning. Constitution Hill.
Frankie's off to see Constitution Hill. Shocker, Joel.
Yeah. I don't understand it. And I know it's really starting to pee people off a little bit. It's not like Aidan O'Brien, the best one we've ever trained, and there's a Coolmore Stallion Brigade going off there, and the stud fees and what have you. But when it comes to, national hunt horses, there's no stud fee. So, we're coming out with, he's quality. I can see the quality in him now and all this. And look, goes to the fighting fifth, wins at 1-3 or something probably, and then where do we go from there?
Christmas hurdle, Cheltenham, misses a race Girl Scout. We know the narrative. Let's react more to today, Joel. I'll start with you because I know you're a big fan of the yellow clay, but he looks slow on. Well, they all look very, very tired after that Liz Mullen hurdle today.
Yeah, was it what's he called? Colonel, not Colonel Mustaffer, he was a wrestler. Colonel Mustard, with Sergeant Slaughter. Colonel Mustard hadn't won for like 4 years. I've been putting him up on the show for the last 4 years. Yellow Clay just looked like a boat, looked like Don Poley. And Gordon's had been running so well. However, just up and down on the spot. It didn't look fit, but apparently was fit. So I think it was Johnny Deneen who said,
he said he was fit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Johnny Deneen was saying that it was the most overrated horse in training. And I was a big fan the last few years, and I'm starting to go on that boat now as opposed to bandwagon. And maybe not as good as we all thought.
Yeah, well, I'll let you just think about that, and I'll let Frankie now bask in the glory, because he did put up Founder 50 on the Punters Guide as an app before the weekend. Obviously, we had to wait an extra 48 hours for it. He, Julian Blythe, it didn't help the fact Dino Blue's got half of Navan's fences in a backside.
Yeah, for all that, I made the point of Dino Blue being more suited to the spring and the tours, the big festivals, coming that time of year. She did also, take half of the race courses woodwork or birch with her. So Founder 50 jumped brilliant. He put in a great performance. He's looking quite versatile now, isn't he? He's raced over 2, 2.5 and 3. The only frustrating thing about him on the road to Cheltenham show is I don't necessarily think he's a Cheltenham horse. He was second to Gaelic Warrior, wasn't he, in an Arkle, but he was a bit disappointed last year. I don't really know what his optimal trip or race would be, so I don't actually think he would be one to get excited about festival-wise. I did also, I will remind you, whilst I pat myself on the back with Founder 50, say that Loda Sid would win on the Friday and beat John Mon.
Hold that. We'll come back to that in a short while. Hold that. We will do a horse in focus a little later on. He may have just mentioned it, but we'll come back to that. Right, and what we're seeing on Monday, so we are almost immediate reaction, less than an hour after Kopek de Borders won. If I was to give you £1 now, or a fiver, we'll say for gambling week, what would you have it on from today's action? What would be you looking most forward to most from March? Would it be obviously the Yellow Clay? Do you think he could come back? Would it be the 2 novice chasers? Would it be Dino Blue for the mares? What would you do from today?
I would go Fingal Bridge. Right. Ollie Murphy to the stewards room, please. I mean, look, obviously further, and we're having a laugh. And I think I said a couple of weeks ago, some people won't use Sean Bowen because all he wants to do is ride winners. Well, I think we found the first time he didn't want to ride a winner today.
To be fair...
Oh, come on, to be fair. Let's be honest. Open. That wasn't off a yard.
He left... I did watch it. He left his iron legs in the open ditch, and I just think he just took his time then. And I thought it was an eye-catching performance. But I am going to cut him a little bit of slack for this one. I'll come on to some others that we saw this weekend very shortly, talking about hiding their lights under bushels.
What ones that maybe came up the inside as opposed to the outside? Like
maybe ones that came up the inside, Joel. Maybe ones that did come up the inside, yes, when it was clearly the golden hour on the outside. Maybe. We'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, I'm going to excuse Sean Bowen for that because he did lose his hind leg and saying he wasn't chasing debuts. It just took him a bit of time to get motivated, get him on an even keel. And he did stay on very, very well. You're right. He'll need further. But maybe, something like the novice handicap, maybe the 2.5 miler, certainly could come into the equation from him. Now, that's Monday, so that's almost immediate reaction.
What about my pound?
Yeah. And what about my pound? That was making jokes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to rattle on.
I don't know why. I don't know why I've said that because I've got nothing interesting to do with my pound from Monday's action. Go back to board's not exactly going to make me a millionaire, and there's not a whole lot out. I'd have it on Jatara for the mares, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I've got nothing on the Monday.
He's saving it. He's saving it for Constitution Hill to win by 10 lengths or more.
Yeah. He's having it on the racecourse gallop tomorrow.
Yeah,
quid on him. It depends on. Right. So thanks for your input, Joel. What was your quid going on?
Kopek de Bord. I think you look at that horse and you go that if there's 2 horses in the weekend that you'd want, and that for me, it's so exciting, and I don't want to overstate it, but when you see a good one and you go, God, this is going to be good. A bit like Frankie when he saw Constitution Hill, a bit like that, but we'd like it to keep on going a little bit.
Right, let's wrap to Cheltenham. But I must just say, by the way, like, subscribe. I forgot to say, I've just been told off. Top of the show, I'm supposed to say it. But like and subscribe the show. And obviously, every single Monday, we give you the road to Cheltenham. And Frankie sometimes pulls out pearlers on the Punters Guide every Friday, like Founder 50, who won this afternoon. So please like, subscribe, and hopefully you can join us on this road to the Cheltenham Series all the way up to March. I'm going to have a look at the back then at Cheltenham. You just mentioned Sean Bowen's ride at Exeter. What about the ride he gave Wade out, though, Joel? Come on, you've got to give it. Talk about for perseverance, medals for perseverance.
I think that Ruby Walsh might be an even better commentator, analyst than he was as a top of the draw class jockey, because I was that person who was watching it with missus, hasn't got a lot of experience with horse racing, or just goes, I thought the first two just slowed down and stopped. But the way that Ruby explained it, about it wasn't at him, and it wasn't. I was the punter who went, he's one of them. He just doesn't give up and keeps going and going and going. And when it was explained to me, I was like, I've been educated. Ruby doesn't mince his words by any means whatsoever. And I just thought, I thought visually it was unbelievable. He's my sort of jock. I love that sort of jock. The Noel Feely, AP McCoy, the ones that just get after him. Jamie Moore, Tom Scudamore, the ones who just stay after him. I'm not a massive fan of the arse in the air and Timmy Murphy style. Looks great when it works, but I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. And I think he is just one of them jockeys where you look at it and you just go, I've always got a chance. And that's what I want. And I thought it was early contender for ride of the season without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, and having had a couple of quid on One Being Bang, I was delighted to see him surging up the hill, Frankie.
Yeah, it was class, wasn't it? If you're, like Joel said, if you're an owner, if you're a trainer, if you're a punter and you've had a few quid on, he is the man you want on board, because he's always going to give you a chance. And as Joel said as well, not just for trying hard physically, but for trying hard and being clever tactically as well. It was when I took a bit of time just to watch it back, it's like you can physically see the conversation happening between man and horse, all the way around, with his hands, how he's moving, he's keeping him interested, he's allowing him to jump at the right times, he's chasing after them at the right times. He's worked that hard all the way around to keep him in the race, and he still gives him the best chance at the second last and the last, and then goes and wins the race. So yeah, it was top class, and there's a reason everyone's talking about him, because he's doing it week after week, isn't he, at the moment?
He certainly is, yeah. He's absolutely flying, and it was a really good ride. I was dead happy to see him surge up the hill.
He's not the man you want on board a horse that you haven't backed, put it that way.
I'll be honest with you, I watched that. So my brother-in-law was with us at Cheltenham, and I was watching it with him in the stands, and although it was an absolutely grim day, and I just said he'd actually back Wade out, and I said he's not giving up. He said he won't give up. I said he's still in with a chance, and he dropped about another. On top of the hill, he was almost obviously out of it, and then he got in contention, dropped about another 8 to 10 lengths off the coming down the hill. And I said he's not going to give up, because he did something similar at Worcester, and I just knew what was happening. I just could see it in the stars, and incredible. That's why I'm a bit hoarse. Well, it's not from shouting home winners at Cheltenham this weekend, that's for sure. But yeah, that was just one that just epitomised the weekend. Right, move on, because I want to talk about no drama this end. Paul Nicholls obviously said he's been searching for the next Denman, not Corto, Denman, and this fella might be the one, Frankie. Although the market, if that was to be the case, and they're looking at the next Denman, didn't seem to agree going into this race.
No, I guess not. But how many times has a semi-fancied Paul Nicholls horse gone and got beaten at one of these October November meetings? I think punters, I know this sounds a bit harsh, but I've almost given up backing him at Cheltenham. He just does not get them right there, does he? Whereas, you come to Newbury next weekend and you'd back him blind. So maybe that played into it a touch. The horse that went off favourite, Heads Up, also did finish second in the champion bumper, ahead of No Drama this end. So logically, if you were reading it, I suppose you would have him as top dog on bumper form. But he was very good, wasn't he? He was really, really good. And in those testing conditions, going that 2.5 mile or 2 mile 5 trip, coming out the champion bumper last year, all the signs are there for him to be a really, really good horse. And the fact that Heads Up went off fairly quick, maybe like a 2 miler rather than a 2.5 miler, and there was no panic at all from Cobden, and then he went and picked him up as he liked and finished in a canter. I think you could say it was a very, very impressive performance. So he is one to get excited about for sure. And as they've had my mind's gone blank there. Big Blow, their chasing stars.
Caldwell Potter,
yeah, out. They might have a new one in, which they'll be delighted about. He was very good.
I guess it's Joel next stop, Cheltenham Erdl at Newbury.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it? I mean, a mate texted me and put Claxon. Paul Nicholls has found the next Denman. Because I mean that's what it is. But he did look emotional, didn't he? And he's not one of those to wear his heart on his sleeve, and he is straight talking. So I'm happy. I'm happy because I like the rivalry. It looks like the Skeltons are running away with the championship at this point, but then Liverpool were in the Premier League after 4 weeks, and they're about 8th now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So hopefully not the next Brave Man's game, even though that was a good horse. But Denman, my favourite horse. So no drama this end. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I was really impressed, and you can tell Paul was as well.
I think he's gone into favourite, hasn't he, for the Turners? If you were looking at markets, early markets, I think he's
just some of the. I mean, what was the thing the other day? My daddy Paddy won at Carlisle. He won at Carlisle Novice Erdl, and he's 7-1 favourite for the Supreme. I mean, come on,
but hang on a sec. You're taking the mick. You work for the bookmakers. You're the bookmakers' representative here.
We all do.
I'm just thinking, like when I was 20 years ago, 15 years ago, with the Supreme, you're looking at 20s a field, and it's I suppose.
Well, Joel's just anyway. Boards at 7-4, anyways.
Well, right. Yeah. Okay. What price does that go off? It's not going to get injured. What price does that go off on the day?
Well, we've still got to discuss, haven't we? So, but not short. I don't know. I wouldn't say miles shorter than that.
Let's just talk about the Arkle again, because I'll let Frankie take the stand on this, because I know you're a massive fan of July Flower, and she was another impressive winner.
Yeah, I thought she was great. I thought she was really impressive, and I think both of those will be nice horses as well, to be honest. Be Aware could maybe take the Loda Sud run of last year, going to the Henry VIII and then the Kingmaker, and pick up some much wanted prize money for the Skeltons. He was equally as impressive, and I think July Flower's beaten a really good horse there. So I think that those two are well worth following this season. And did I hear Henry de Bromhead say or read a tweet saying she'd go straight to the festival now, which is a bit annoying as a horse to follow. But yeah, you'd have to stick her in there. I mean, obviously we've spoken about there's 1,000,001 Arkle contenders after this weekend, isn't there? And she's not top of the placings, but she's done it around Cheltenham. She jumped amazingly. She still is relatively unexposed under Henry de Bromhead's guidance. She's got all the scope to keep improving. And I do think the horse in second will be a really nice horse as well. So it's a good race.
Be Aware's been booked in for a new handbrake cable, Joel, and will be turning up in the Grand Annual.
I would have very much. I thought I would have very much thought of that. Maybe he's been hanging out with Langadan, and he's starting seeing the trees and all the leaves falling off the trees, and when they start budding again, and he goes, "Oh, it's time to be there." I was impressed with July Flower, but a bit like the market, I wouldn't be getting stuck in. Burdett Road drifted all morning. And came in for a little bit of support at the end, finished distant third. And I didn't back July Flower this weekend, even though Frankie was quite keen on her, simply because that was the price boost everywhere. 2-1, whatever. And I honestly, when there's a price boost, that's me gone. It's a conspiracy theory, but when there's something that should be 5-6 or something, and it's 5-2 or 9-2 or whatever it is, I'm like, no, not a chance.
Just talking about Be Aware, I was trying to get my Dan Skelton cap on, and I know that it's not given that he's going to go and win these races, especially with Lualamba knocking about and others. But something like the Jack Richards novice over 2.5, because he raced over 2 miles 60 at the festival and stuff like that. And what I don't know what he's going to go up, but he went into that low 140s. You could go into that high 140s, into that sort of handicap territory, but you're only getting 60k for one of those. And I think he's as good as a grade 1 horse. I reckon they will go down the graded route with him. I might be wrong, but I would predict him probably trying his luck in better races rather than pulling up stumps and going to a festival handicap, just because of prize money and the way that Dan Skelton's going to be gunning for that Trainers' Championship.
I mean, to be fair, you probably could take in races like that, only the Kingmaker, and if they're small fields and he's a short face favourite, the handicapper's not going to react too much.
That's true.
That's true. But let's watch him breathe. Look, I'll give you 1 point each, either of you, or both of you, to make one more point. Anything from the weekend. Obviously, talk about the Skeltons. I mean, Supremely West is the one that I think we were about to talk about, wasn't it, Joel? I did say the Punters guide about having that. He's qualified for the Potemps. You wouldn't want to go too much off 138.
Yeah, I think we should have put our Dan Skelton trainer's cap on for that one before the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, right.
So we should have started plotting his route, really.
Yeah, credit due. We can come on the outside and do the plane and all of this sort of stuff. And then it was it was pulled in, wasn't it? Explain the running and riding, and he went up the inside. Ready for this? The explanation was noted because he thought he'd like the the heavier ground. But you called it before, during, and after, and that's racing. What were we on? 138. Already qualified for the attempts. Bang, done. Should have seen that. You did. We didn't.
We see it happen in Ireland a lot, don't we, with the getting handicapped and things, and that's what it's all about, and that's why they seem to be dominant over here. Anything else then, Frankie, let you go first. Anything else you want to make a point for the weekend?
I didn't get into talking about this end, but I would quite like to see Heads Up back over 2 miles somewhere. I don't know if that's maybe a festival shout, but from a punting angle, he just went quite quick and faded late on. He was second in the champion bumper. I wouldn't give up hope on him, and you might get a slightly better price about him. And I quite like Conyers Hill towards a festival tilt, maybe in the plate over 2.5. He was fourth. He ran sixth in the 2 mile handicap at the festival last year. He's good round Cheltenham. He just seemed to run out of gas. I reckon you've got to deliver him as late as humanly possible. He seems to have one change of gear and it doesn't last long. But if you're brave and ride him for luck, I reckon he could be a plate contender, Conyers Hill, given the way that he's been campaigned in his Cheltenham form. And he actually got dropped a couple of pounds, I think, for the weekend. He'd been in the, or maybe, low 130s. He might not get in at that rate. We'll see.
He's just rocking a hard place, isn't he? Because he's got outpaced the Grand Annual and looked like he didn't stay. Maybe better ground might help him stay. Although obviously
he came there swinging, didn't he?
Say again?
He came there swinging.
Absolutely swinging.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the Mackerson, as it used to be called, obviously, the horse in fifth. Did anybody get a little bit bad? Do you remember when we were on this a couple of years ago? It might have been 3 years ago now. And I'm going, have you heard about this? You know, the whispers, the dogs were barking and whatever. And it's never really lived up. Well, it's not lived up to the expectation. But I think it was like 20-1 in the morning or something. And Bad came fifth. And I thought, was it about 3 out? I thought, hang on, what's going on here? And I backed Vincenzo, which was well backed. Obviously came second to Panic Attack of the Skeltons when he went round the outside as opposed to the inside. But I mean, I don't know what you do with a horse like Bad. It's quite frustrating, but yeah, Conyers Hill and Bad both got little asterisks next to them just to be aware next time they run.
I bet they regret him.
Bad's an interesting one, isn't he? Because he's all his best for has been on a flat track, namely Kempton, and although Ascot he's run well at before, but yeah, he ran well. One horse that I am going to have to talk about before we do move on and do our horse in focus. How impressive was Alexei? Now, am I barking up a wrong track? I know there's so much handicaps and so much money, and Tizards are flying. I think as we're talking, they've had 2 or 3 winners again today. I think he's like 6 or 7 have all won now. Tizard with Exeter and Plumped as we sit here today. 134 annihilates from the Great. What's the handicap I'm going to do? 145 with Constitution Hill now. Obviously, who knows how he's going to be? Surely he's going to be as good as he was. Statement out for the season. Last year's champion hurdle winner already beaten an absolute street. Obviously, something came to light. I mean, he's a massive prize. Granted, he's a long way away, but am I barking on interesting one? A wide open year.
Do you want me to go first here?
I'm going to have to because you have to. Yeah. Go. You go first, Joel.
All right. No. Well, you ripped it out of me last week when I asked you for a prize for Celtic Dino. Winner of the Welsh Champion Hurdle, who beat your horse that you're talking about now, and it was pulled out at the weekend. And I asked for a price. Now I'm thinking I'm getting 2,000 to 1 here, and everybody ignored me. The horse at the weekend absolutely romped home, and I completely agree with you. 134 to 145. You might as well have a go, aren't you? And the right colours to have a go as well, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Frankie?
I was just having a quick browse over who would make up a full field of the champion hurdle. And you're right, there's a lot of holes. And
we'll go through the market now. The new line, obviously, I think is the one to beat. Lossiemouth, will she go for the mares? Constitution Hill, we'll see a week on Saturday how much remains. Amsterdam, obviously another unknown. William Money coming for the Supreme last year. Waddo, she was very impressive last year, but will she need further? Gino, I imagine, will be over fences. As I say, Roundsea, Comet de Board's going fencing. Golden Ace has been beaten. Lulamba's going over fencing. That's the head of the market now. And just, if it is a small field, in what, apart from the Gold Cup, and I know the way you're thinking, well, the championship races at this stage do look really wide open.
Yeah, I don't think it's a mentor shout by any means. It would be bold from owners and trainers. It would be bold, but it's maybe off the back of what happened in last year's champion hurdle as well. You've rolled the dice.
But are we taking?
Right.
Are we
You're always
taking
looking
this?
for one of those angles, aren't you? That's your thing, Matt. A long way out. You're looking. If you always find a field.
I like the way you're thinking, but I like the way you're thinking generally on this. But is it just because the Tizzards are having a purple patch as well, and that one today was it Plumpton absolutely bolts up? Yeah, absolutely bolts up, and we're they're flying. When it comes to festival time, you could have the reverse of Paul Nicholls, and they could be out the back of the telly, whereas Nicholls is creaming it.
Whilst on the subject
of
Tizzards, getting an early shout in for our viewers for Saturday Ascot. They won the same novice hurdle last year, and Etna Bianco is supposed to be fairly handy. And they love to have winners on that Ascot card next weekend. Just slip that one in. Just slip
that in. Make a note. Price will gone by Friday. Thank you very much. Right, just leave that there. Part that there. Horse in focus time. Low do Sud. How much do we take at face value? I mean, John Bon, what do we do with him now, the way he jumped at the weekend? But Low do Sud, how much do we take at face value? Has he improved? Is he bona fide champion chase material, Joel?
I don't know. Thanks for coming. I don't know. I don't know if it's in between that really top level and that level. I mean, Frankie was talking about those horses last week and like Low do Sud, and I thought Low do Sud was going to win at one point. It's obviously a really good horse, but I'm just not convinced it's top level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying as well, based on how you might, when you go back to him in the Arkle last year and you look at that and see Django Bay only by night, Majborough of course made an error, and that wasn't exactly vintage, was it? Besides, Majborough went off 1-2, but we know that he has jumping issues. But on the flip side, the way that he has progressed from the year before that, second in the county hurdle, and then winning that Arkle trial, and then the the grade 1 at Sandown, then the grade 2 Kingmaker at the Warwick, and then fourth, and then comes out and does that. Like he has not stopped going up, and those horses are always more exciting than one that started really high and flatlined.
Let me just give you the top of the market then. Marine National 7-2, Sergino 4-1. We've not seen him much over fences. Majborough, then, I know we're a big fan of Joel. We said at the beginning of the show, 5-1, the first show of the season. LA Tom, we'll see him in the Tingle Creek against Low do Sud. 6-1 LA Tom, 10-1 Low do Sud. That's the top 5. Then, Factor File, ain't coming here. John Bon, no chance, can't back him with stolen money. Banbridge, he's going to stay. He's going to over further. Obviously, King George, I imagine, he is targeting. Calixios ran a cracker last year and coming down at the last, but he's another year older. Then you into Impere Pass. Gaelic Warrior is going to go over further. Il Francais, Joel. He ain't going to go 2 mile, is he? Only by night. I imagine he's going the mares. Founder 50. Django Bay 40-1. Interestingly, all of a sudden, 10-1 in each way when a small field.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I did the same thing, and you can't like you said, how can you? He's currently favourite. We haven't seen him in Yonks. Marine National, okay. Majborough has jumping issues, although I still love him. Ilete Toms, I think, is probably better elsewhere. Yeah, I did the same thing and thought he is well worth an each way play if you were to want to price him up at this stage. But I can't imagine much will happen to his mark or his price anytime soon anyway. But I thought he was well impressive. Like, how can you not be impressed? That part of the reason John Bon didn't run as good as a lot of people would have hoped he did was because he got put under pressure by Letty Thomas, and then he missed a few, and then he was chasing, and part of his performance being bad was because of Low do Sud's performance being that good and putting him under pressure. So
And obviously, Joel Frankie was telling us that it was all about Protectorate for that team this weekend. So they were even shocked how good Load of Sud was.
Well, you know what? I interviewed Jed and Sir Alex about half an hour before he ran, and Jed said the horse he was most excited about was Weighed Out, who did win. Protectorate was disappointing, who they must have mentioned 20 times across the weekend, and were buzzing for him. He was obviously fresh at home because Scout said that afterwards, and he said that he had to run him because he was just bouncing. So maybe that was giving the hope. And then Loda said they were hopeful for. But we should just start backing whatever the hell they've got that weekend in Bahrain, really, because they seem to clean up in the sunshine.
And you did put up world champion, so a cracking weekend.
Not forgetting that, cross continent.
Yeah. Right, so join us Friday, like, subscribe, join us Friday. Frankie does come up with the odd nugget. Even a blind squirrel can find nuts sometimes. Right, one thing on a wrap up. I don't know actually about the Monday's race, but over the entire weekend, Friday through to Monday, I'm giving you a free fiver. What horse is it going on for the festival from those that we have seen this weekend, Joel?
Speak to him first, because he'll just copy me.
I think where we finished. I think there's scope for. I think the Champion Chase is winnable by a number of them, and Loda said is a very fair price at this stage. I'd be happy with his price. So
Constitution Hill for Frankie Gel?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm there with fresh eyes today, I genuinely don't know. But Copec de Boer for me was beautiful. It was like making love. You start off slowly and it's a bit clunky, and then you just get into it and you get bigger and bigger. There's your quote.
It's a valid point. I know I said about the Supreme being ridiculous. Look, we've got so many horses to see in these novice hurdlers, and whatever it was, 7-1 My Daddy Paddy. But in terms of the Arkle, in terms of the class horses coming through, you're probably right. I mean, it's going to be there'll be lots of horses. I know there will, but in terms of what we've seen so far, it's probably going to build up to a match. Copec de Boer 2-1. If he gets there fit, he ain't going off much bigger than that, is he? As a Cheltenham Festival winner, as an impressive debut winner, we can see he jumps. We see the engine remains intact. That's interesting. But I'm going to throw my hat into the ring with Alexa. I don't know if they're going to go that route. He's 40-1. I'm just thinking a race that may cut up and maybe a few runners from what we've seen so far. Obviously, I know a few thrown into the hat into the ring for the fighting fifth. I think 40-1 after what was the most massively impressive in the Great Wood. I thought he would do for me.
And also, I don't know how much we mentioned Final Demand. Wingman was back. Yeah. Final Demand.
So much this weekend.
Yeah, there was so much this weekend. Final Demand, another one. That's what I was trying to think of before. I was like, there's another one in there. Beat Wingman and 3. It's not a bad horse. And 3 out, I think it was. Broke his heart, and then Wingman made a blunder at the last, and Final Demand won on the bridle, and just looked easy. And again, you're looking behind. What has he beat? But I just like looking at those and going, I like this. This looks good. So there's been 3, 4, maybe 5 that were expected to win, and the Yellow Clay.
Had to get it in. Right, are we all set for Friday? Haydock and Ascot, cracking cards.
Yeah, do you remember?
Forward to those?
Yeah. Do you remember last year? We said
Scout wins a big one.
Yeah, roll per guy. I'm about 40 minutes from Haydock. I've got my sprinklers on now. We're just about there for Venetia time. And remember,
the forecast for the week.
What is it? Is it chucking it down?
It's pretty much guaranteed. Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I think with that. I think roll per guy is only like 6-1 or something. Anyway, but was it last year? Did the business?
Yeah. Broke Grey Dawn's heart on the run in.
Yeah.
Take each other on again.
Yeah.
7 entered.
Yeah.
It's all about Wadhu, is it not?
In the Ascot Hurdle.
Yeah.
Could be. Find out on Friday what we fancy this weekend. Right, don't forget, subscribe as well. You can also now hear from us. You don't have to see these faces. You can hear from us on Spotify as well. So subscribe, both the Road to Cheltenham and the Punters Guide. What has been an incredible weekend. The November meeting at Cheltenham always provides plenty of festival clues. We had the added bonus of Navan this weekend as well. So hopefully with maybe interesting, a little bit of value ahead of the festival in March. But make sure you join us Friday. We'll run the rule over a cracking weekend of action at Ascot and Haydock.